What's up, everybody? I wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone who watched my first video, or I should say my previous video, my video kind of reviewing Axis Football 2020's gameplay. And I'm going to say thank you to everyone who is watching this video. I'm gonna try not to hold you guys too long. Just gonna get right into it. Gonna show you everything franchise has to offer. As you can see, I'm using the NFL teams. There is an NFL mod. And before I start, I want to show you the uniform editor. So in the uniform editor of this game, um, you can kind of change the team's different uniforms, and whatever you do in the uniform editor will be universal. It'll You can access it at any time, anywhere, when you're about to play a game. So a huge shout out to the creator of the NFL mod. Some teams will have throwback uniforms. For example, the Bills have a throwback uniform. You can see the throwback helmet. But things that you edit in the player editor are not universal. So I just wanted to throw that out there just in case there is anyone, again, who maybe doesn't have the game and is probably looking at this trying to see whether or not they should get the game. So I have two different franchises already. I wanted to do a franchise with Baltimore's roster, and I've actually been doing some modding myself. I have modded all of the Ravens players into the game. All of the obviously the Porsches aren't going to be there, and some of them aren't completely up to date with their ratings, or their personal information. But the entire depth chart is there, and I base it off of the Ravens depth chart that you can find on their website. But again, don't want to keep you guys too long. I'm already 2 minutes in. So when you start a new franchise, you have the option to select a team, and it'll show you their offensive, defensive, and special teams ratings. It'll show you the salary cap, the three top players, and the average age of your starters. If you press X, if you're using an Xbox controller, like I am actually, it just gives you a random team. It's pretty straightforward. So I'm gonna click it one more time, and we ended on Tennessee. So you can start franchise. You can start with random rosters, unlimited funds, or random tier placement. I think the random tier placement is kind of broken right now. Not entirely sure. I tested it out a little bit, but I'll come back to it again a little later. Now I'm just going to show you the base franchise without the random rosters or unlimited funds, and then after that I'll show you the random rosters, because everything that's pretty simple. So you can see your next game, and when you click on it, it kind of initializes the match. You can edit uniforms, which takes a little while to load, but you can edit. You can change your uniform. Now the red and the green and white, I think those are there because when you mod them, the game has its own base kind of helmets, I guess. And then for your team, you can edit your playbook. You cannot edit the playbook of the away team. Um, and then you also can see your team schedule, and then you can go over to the league schedule, in which you can watch all of these games. You can watch every game from every tier that you want for every single week. And then you can go and see the playoff seeds. For those of you unfamiliar with the tier system, um, tier 3 is the lowest, tier 2 is in the middle, and tier 1 is the highest. Every team's goal is to get into tier 1 and stay in tier 1. So 4 teams from tier 3 will compete to get into tier 2, and then the winner will play the 12th seed in tier 2. If they win, they go on to tier 2, and then it's the same thing with the tier 2 playoffs. The top 4 will battle out to try and get into that last position in tier 1. And then in tier 1, it's a 8-man or 8-team, I should say, kind of battle. Now you can play your game, you can coach your game, or you can spectate your game, and then finally you can simulate your game. That's all pretty straightforward. I found that the best way to find the to get the best stats is to kind of play the game with a little edited, I should say. So I play 15-minute quarters with a 17-second accel clock. I have my game speed, I believe, at the highest, and my player speed at the lowest. And that gives off a decent amount of stats, a good amount of stats. And then you also have your standings. And then yeah, so just here are all the standings, and then that's that. So going into stats, you can see your stats from every tier that you've been in, your overall win record, your best season, your most yards, and the least amount of yards you've given up. Um, and then you can see where your team ranks. And I'll show you guys the league leaders and the team leaders stuff a little bit. So next is free agency, and I'll talk about free agency. Free agency is pretty interesting because midway through the season, apparently you'll still see some of those some of those guys that have a talent. Not entirely sure if I've never seen it before. I don't ever really look at free agency. But you can go into your depth chart, and don't know why that's there, but anyway, you can go into your depth chart, and you can mix around who you want in, who you think is best at what position. I will say that you are better off in this game with a running back that has a speed or a B plus speed than a C speed or a C plus speed, and that's because when you are running the ball, if you're trying to get to the outside, being slow is not going to help you. And if you have a running back that has a bad speed, you're better off just trading him. Um, and then again, you can switch up your depth chart, all of that fun stuff. Um, and the free agents, if you offer a free agent a contract, but you don't offer them a high enough contract, they will sign with another team. I'll showcase that here. I'm going to try my best to lowball this quarterback. Sometimes it doesn't always work because they still end up taking it. But you see right there, it says he signed with Arizona. So they won't always sign with you. I did find it weird that also almost every team needs a punter and a kicker for whatever reason. Not entirely sure, but a lot of teams need punters and kickers. And that's especially present when you randomize the rosters. But anyway, you have player contracts, which will show at the near the end of the season. You can look at your injuries. Your practice squad spots fill up very, very easily, and for whatever reason, there's no way to release those players. Not entirely sure why. I guess you have to trade them away for picks or something. Not sure. Morale. If you guys don't know what morale is, it's simply it's something that affects how your team plays, and how your team plays, and other things will affect their morale. You have a full list of coaches. So head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, and then quarterbacks coach, running back coach, receivers coach, O line coach, D line coach, linebacker coach, DB coach, and then you have your West, Central, Southeast, and Northeast scouts. Here's a team draft guide, which is best used towards the end of the season. You can change your practice intensity. I like to switch it up to extreme. I like focusing on speed and agility, and then I like to focus on block shedding, rushing, and ball security just a little bit, and then I like to focus on passing, blocking, and then I kind of just utilize the rest of my points wherever. Um, so I believe that's pretty much it. Oh, and your financial report. So your facilities are going to, well, at least your field facilities are going to influence how much profit you make. So, and I'll showcase kind of what that is. So without purchasing anything this season, I'll show you guys what happens. So I'm going to simulate through all of the games. So let's see how we actually do. Oh, and apparently your coaches can earn badges. I had no idea that your coaches could earn badges. This is the first time that I've played this game and I've had a coach earn a badge. So the franchise mode is pretty in depth. Um, and generally, I like to play through all of my games. Sometimes I coach them, sometimes I spectate them. But as you can see, there are awards popping up, and once I get to the end, I'll be sure to show you guys the end of the season awards and some of the weekly awards. As you can see, it's a 16-week season. There is no bye week, but hold on. Okay. So we have one more game. All right. So we didn't make it to the playoffs, and that's fine. But and I so it says Minshew. Like I said, I downloaded the NFL mod. Not all of the teams are up to date, so I'm working on some of the teams. But as you can see, the game gives you yearly awards. You know who did the best, all of that fun stuff, and then it gives you a weekly breakdown of who did good. So that's a really nice addition. It's something that's pretty immersive. And then you get, like I said, you get to see your stats in your tier. So we've spent all of our seasons thus far in tier three. Overall record is 8-8. The least amount of rush yards that we've ever been able to hold a team to is 17, which is pretty good. We finished 15th, the 15th ranked offense, 25th in passing, and 10th in rushing. We ranked 5th in defense with a 5th rated pass defense and an 18th ranked rush defense. And then you get to see your team leaders. So our team leader was Adam Cunningham, 61% completion, 3.3 thousand yards, 30 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. And then so it goes through, rushing, receiving, defense, and it also gives you kicking. So, how well your kicker did, and then as well as how well your punter did. Now, if you want to see how the rest of the league did in terms of kicking and punting, you can't go to the league leader section. You have to do it through your team leaders. Not entirely sure why, but that's the only way to do it. So with the league leaders, you get to see, who did the best. Now, if one of your players did really good, see right there. Um, we ranked top 5 in interceptions. Cunningham didn't throw as many interceptions as some of the people, and you can also go through and you don't have to just look at the top 5. You can see how many interceptions everybody threw. And then rushing, same thing. You can see all that stuff. You can see how players did in general. And again, you can't see the kicking stats. Not sure why, but you can't see the kicking stats. Now, the season's over. We're gonna simulate the playoffs, and then I'm gonna show you guys. So you see how we have 209.6 million funds available right now, and now we have 141. So we had 14 player contracts expire. Now, when my player contracts expire, I like to see who is taking up the most cap space. Whoever's taking up the most cap space, if I need them, I sign them. So this guy right here, we'll offer him a contract. Other than that, if no one else is taking up that much, I just hit sign all and then see what happens. So you sign all, and now we have some funds left, and we have 50 spots because maybe some people retire. Yep, we had 3 people retire. We didn't have any coaches retire, so that's good. And then you can also check your player progressions. So some players, progress pretty well. I don't know if players regress, but it looks like all of our players progress. Oh, yeah, so some players do regress. And it looks like, yeah, they regress with age. So we have some D linemen that regressed. And then you can go into the draft. Now, I haven't scouted anyone for the draft, but you can do that. You get 3 scouting points. You can buy a scouting report. The scouting reports are generally okay-ish, I guess. The best quarterback looks like that you'll find is in the Northeast. The best kicker you'll find is in the Southeast. You'll find some. Okay, so this is actually one of the better ones that I've seen. but you can scout. I mean, it's really not, and you get scouting points every week, but your scouts can only hold so many points at a time. And then I'm going to go into the draft, and I'm going to set the speed to fast, and then I'm just going to pick. Hold on, you can set the very fast actually, so that's pretty nice. I'm just going to draft players. Not really here to not really here to show you guys how the draft works. So you see, we drafted 7 quarterbacks, and then you can look at the draft summary from every round. And then we go on to player contracts. Make sure no one needs to be signed. No one needs to be signed. So just hit start next season, and then you can only play your games if you have filled up all of these spots here. And since we haven't filled up all of these spots, and I think it's probably because we didn't sign those rookies, I'm going to have to sign some other people. So I'm going to sign this DB, and then I'm going to sign, let's see, this kicker, and then I'll sign this linebacker. So now we have all 53 of our roster spots, and now I'll show you guys, I guess kind of what the difference is when you have your, when you have some decent facilities at least. And then I'll also show you how sometimes it'll affect team morale. So, and then one more. All right. So as you can see, I believe our team morale should have went up. If it didn't, then oh well. I was just talking. But now I'm going to simulate through all of our games again, and we have started off 1-1. We are now 1-2, 1-3. So I guess this team is just pretty bad. I really wouldn't know. Have never played with them before, but right now we're doing worse than we did last season, and it is showing. We are 11th. Well, now we're 9th. 4-8, 4-9, 4-10, 4-11, and we finished 4-12. So again, I'll simulate through this. I'll simulate through that. And you see how we lost a lot more this season than we did last season. Wins are going to bring in more money. Since we lost, we're not going to have that much money. So I was hoping that maybe there would be a winning season. But here's a bug that I noticed the first time I, kind of tried to look at this. I guess it's when you simulate through, but the stats kind of get all jumbled for whatever reason. When you look at the yearly awards, these awards are, well, no, they're not, because no one is getting 27 tackles or 32 tackles. So some of these stats are okay, but some of them are just outlandish. So I don't know what that bug is. Not entirely sure. But then I believe in here. Oh, no. So the last time I looked at this, the other issue was that all of the quarterbacks were from different teams but had the same name. Oh, here's the bug I was telling you about. So different teams, same name, same stats, and you guys see all of this. But I believe if you go down, it does pan out. Not entirely sure why it does this, but that's what it's doing. Same thing over here. Like no one's getting 826 interceptions. But if you go down, it should balance out to what the proper stats were. And if it doesn't, then oh well. Looks like it's not. So it's not, and again, not entirely sure why, but if you go in here, it should give you the proper sim stats that everyone had. Now, another thing that you can also do that I didn't show you guys is go into your career stats. You can see how well your players did. Now, if you do random rosters or if you have a mod loaded, you're not going to be able to see how well these players did in previous years because the game doesn't have previous year stats for them, I guess. Maybe it's just not in their coding. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. And I definitely already submitted a bug report on this. Like I said, I already saw it, the numbers being all messed up. But I hope you guys found this video helpful. I hope you guys, if you were still on the edge about Axis Football, were able to watch this video and say, you know what, I think this is a game that I want to purchase. I don't work with Axis. I'm not affiliated with Axis in any way, really. I'm just someone who is really passionate about offline sports and just being able to play at my own leisure and being able to do what I want. And oh, so one last thing. I'll show you guys kind of what happens. Well, not kind of. I will show you guys what happens when you do random rosters. So we'll pick the Steelers, and then random rosters are on, unlimited funds are on, and I'll try random tier placement. Again, I don't think it really works. I've only ever hit tier 3 whenever it does it. So when we hit random rosters, you see that the rosters are random. I don't know if you guys saw who the top 3 players were, but the rosters are all random, and it does random rosters for every team in the league, which is pretty cool. Now I don't think if you do that you can see no, you can't see career stats. But you do get, like I said, you get a limited fund, so that's a very nice option. So that's it. That is the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys liked it, and please let me know what you think, not only about this video, and just what I should do with my content, but also let me know if you guys are going to end up purchasing Axis Football after this.